Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ted, and today I'm joined by,
Nerdarchy's Dave.
and we're continuing our intro to Starfinder with classes, this time, the Operative. Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
And also you can check the description where you'll find a link to get your copy of Starfinder. So we are on page 92, the Operative. And if you need a Pathfinder analog, just think Rogue on steroids.
So the first thing that kind of jumped out is the amount of not only skills but skill options that this character gets.
Yeah, but let's start right at the top. So basically, they get the middle of the road for their hit points and their stamina points, and next, from there we would move to their key ability scores. What's important to these guys?
Dex and intelligence, as one would expect. Dex, because that's what most of your abilities are going to key off of, or many of your abilities, your attacks, your armor class, very important. And intelligence is important because it's a very skill heavy class, so having more skills is gonna benefit them.
Yeah, it also mentions skill, charisma as well. So it's Dex followed by neck and neck for intelligence and charisma, depending on what kind of build you want to go with.
Right.
If you want to be more skill heavy, which it is already skill heavy, no matter what you do, you could have a negative to your skills, and you will still be skill heavy compared to other classes. Or if you want to be a face character, then you're going to want that charisma. So then that does actually bring us to what you're talking about, their skills. And they start off with the most in the game right out the bat. They have 8 skills plus their intelligence modifier.
And as soon as you jump in there and you make a level 1, one of your first choices is to choose a specialization, and that's going to give you 2 more.
Yes. And so that then you end up with 10 skills plus your intelligence modifier. It is pretty ridiculous. And then not only that, it is so much easier for us to list the skills they don't have than they do. It is like 2 sciences, diplomacy, and mysticism, I think.
Yes. So there's only 20 skills in the game, and they get the choice of 16.
Right. And honestly, we were talking about if you were to make a human operative, you could literally have every skill on their list. If you decide to make your main stat intelligence, put your 18 in intelligence, get a +2, get a 20, get an extra 5 from your intelligence. You're gonna get 10 anyway. Anyway, that's 15. They only have 16. We need 1 more. Human gets a bonus. So skill, so they could literally have every skill on their list.
Yep.
And then later on we get into they are actually there's other things that make them not only have all those skills but really good at those skills.
Yes. So they're going to get light armor. They're going to get basic melee weapons, small arms, and this is the first time we're seeing sniper weapons.
Right, and it's one of 2 classes that doesn't get grenades.
Yes.
That we've seen so far.
Which is sad, I think, a rogue sneaking around dropping grenades sounds like pretty fun, but sadly...
Well, that would be a rogue. This is clearly an operative.
My apologies.
Yeah, but, these guys are, basically space spies. There's a couple different ways you can play them. They don't get the best attack or progression. They get the 3/4. Their good saves are reflex and will. Right out the gate, they get Operative Edge, which this is going to be a recurring theme with this character.
So this is where that extra skill bump is going to come into play. So anything that you actually are proficient at skill-wise, you're just going to get a bump. And it just slowly goes up throughout the levels. It starts off at a 1, and by the time you reach 19th level, it's a +6.
So, like we said, these guys are really good at skills. They actually have other ways where they get even better, but we're not there yet. So then you're going to pick your specialization, right? So the specializations, these are really what are going to make your operative a little more distinctive than someone else's operative. And we're seeing a lot of this throughout the classes of Starfinder, where there's divergence in the classes, so everyone's going to be able to make different characters, and you can play an operative for several times and still never play the same one.
Right. So you have Daredevil, Detective, Explorer, Ghost, Hacker, Spy, and Thief. And I think all of those are pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, there's a little bit of crossover with some, but they definitely have their own like niches they fill, and each one is going to give you an associated skill, your specialization exploit, and
Then something else.
and then something else. So all of that is going to be pretty sweet. They're going to enjoy it, and that's when we get back to like when you get to a certain level with your specialization, you get skill focus on your specialization skills.
So that's going to be another 3 on top of your operative edge.
So
So
yeah,
the things that are your specialty, they're really your specialty.
yeah, you're going to be really good at them. So that brings us to the last hallmark of the operative, and that is trick attack. This is really cool. It is like sneak attack in other editions, but it's actually a little bit cooler. It allows you to do more damage, and in the earlier levels, it's going to be harder to get that more damage off. But that being said, as you get higher, it does get easier, but that's not really the cool part.
So yeah, mechanically, you actually have to take the full attack action, whether you move or not. But then you make a actual like check, a trick check to see whether you're successful. And if you're successful, then you wind up doing the damage.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it is a little difficult, but most of the time you're going to get a +4 from your specialization. You're going to get a +1 because well you're an operative. That's 5. You're going to have 4 ranks in it, so that's a 9. So it seems like we're talking about. It seems like it's hard, but actually it seems like a little bit better than 50% of the time. You're probably going to be able to get it off. But even if you don't get it off, you do have other cool things that happen.
Such as?
Well, it really depends on your selections. It's going to be different for every operative. It might be a stunning thing. It might be a thing where they can't make attacks of opportunity. It may slow them. So it's basically going to be some kind of like debilitating effect that you can do.
I like the options that kind of come out of that as opposed to just I always do damage.
Right. So there's a good possibility you're going to do both. And then there's like certain things that happen later on that allows you to do that multiple times where you can put more than one debilitating effect on your opponent. Most of the time it's only one, but there's circumstances where you can do better or other features that kind of change that or other features that go, "Oh, you can do it to more than one person." So there's definitely some cool things like that.
So what is your your favorite thing about the operative?
It's just the ultimate skill monkey, and the I like the different specializations, and one of the things to point out about the specializations is, one of the things you get is your operative exploits. That's like at second level you start getting those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you take your specialization, you automatically get one, and it's usually one that you wouldn't normally have access to because they have level requirements, and sometimes they have other requirements as well. But if it's in your specialization, you can ignore all the requirements and you just get it. So that's pretty cool.
You like breaking the rules.
I like breaking the rules. There's that, then you get things that like you would kind of expect from the rogue type character, like they get evasion, and but one of the things that maybe you wouldn't expect is the fact that they all get fast movement. So these guys are just like they're just super slick.
Getting eventually up to +30 movement is pretty nice. So if you're looking to do that kind of spy character, pretty amazing.
If you're trying to play a spy, or if you're trying to play like the Han Solo character, or Mal from Firefly, like the operative might actually be the way to go. Or even better would be like the believer, would be like one of these guys as well.
Right.
But it just depends on the specialization you go with because it is all over the place. Operative exploits is like a really big part of your character as well. There is like several pages of options, and they're tiered depending on your level. Like I'll point out one of them is the Jack of all trades. And okay, so you're probably familiar with that term if you're familiar with Pathfinder or playing D&D, but it does something a little bit different in here.
All right.
So basically when you take that one, any one of those any skill that you're not proficient in, basically what you would get is your operative edge bonus to do that skill doubled.
Right.
So by the time you hit 19th level, you have a +12 to something you don't know how to do. And not only that, you can do things that require training, even though you're not trained. So that's kind of cool.
So it's 12 plus your modifier for,
Yeah,
for something that you don't know how to do.
basically yes. They get weapon specialization like everybody else. We had talked about our debilitating trick that they get, which is going to vary depending on your operative exploits. So they changed it a little bit. It's called Uncanny Agility now instead of Uncanny Dodge. But one of the things too is these guys get a lot of attacks.
Yeah.
You know, they get up to triple attack and quadruple attack.
They can trade that up.
We haven't seen that with. It's not even trading it up. It's just take the full attack, take a -4 to your attacks, and instead of taking 2, well, these guys can go 3
And then
or they can
4.
go 4, and you get that 4 by 13th level, 3 by 8th level. So you're not even waiting that long to get it, and it's at 17th level when they get double debilitation, and that's when, you know, you can hit someone and get multiple effects on them. So that's kind of cool. All in all, the operative seems like it's going to be a very fun class to play, and I feel like it's going to be one of the favorites.
I think so as well. And when we actually, jump into the operative builds, the little, quick made characters. If you take the theme outlaw, you could be a hacker. If you take the theme bounty hunter, you might be an investigator. If you take, well, they actually give you 2 different outlaw ones. You could also be a thief. And if you go spacefarer, you could be what they call a trailblazer. And each one of these things, I think, is going to pair well depending upon which specialization and which background you go. I think this opens up to far more options than some of the other classes.
Yeah, and like all of them look like they're either up to no good or they got a bad attitude.
So I've been kind of ogling the operative for a while now. So this is where I'm kind of leaning. I'll have to see where I wind up going when I actually got a campaign to join.
Yeah, I'm hard pressed. I'm not sure where I would go. I still have to get through the other classes and races to fully flesh that out. But there's a ton of choices. Operative is going to be a lot of fun. You're going to be able to customize it, and that character. The couple things, the character is going to be very physical. It's going to be very skill heavy.
And I find more and more that I dig skill heavy characters. What do you guys think of the operative? Are you playing one in your game? How's it running? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Remember, you can jump down the description and grab your copy of Starfinder today.
So until next time, stay nerdy.